All right, natural place to start. NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang getting $50 million, including pay and stock in 2025. I think you got to put it in context. This is a stock that's had a huge run up over the last couple of years. Is that appropriate? Is that an appropriate compensation for a CEO with this level of success?
Well, that's always the, in this case, $50 million question, Frank. A lot of it boils down to the labor supply, so to speak, and the capability of people to run these complex organizations. And we basically need to defer to our board of directors and hope that they make the best judgments. His pay package is not particularly out of line, particularly for the amount of value that company has, the growth that they've experienced over the last few years.
All right, that's fair. I mean, I think it's fair. We're looking right now at the chart, by the way. Over the last year, NVIDIA shares up 23%. But if you look over a longer timeline, like 10 years, I think it's up like 20,000, 60,000. It's some astronomical number.
That's right.
I think one of the things that concerns a lot of people when it comes to CEO is the difference between what the average employee makes and what the CEO makes. Talk to me about some of the trends that you're seeing there, when the pay disparity between, obviously, the CEO at the very top and then some of the people who are working and actually making the operations work.
I think that's a fair question, Frank. A couple things, though, particularly when we think about these pay ratios where we're comparing the CEO's pay to that of the rank and file worker, the median employee, so to speak. Some of these ratios can get quite high. For example, in the retail sector, we have ratios in the 2,000 to 6,000, 2,000 to 6,000 times. In other words, for every dollar that the CEO is receiving, the employees is only receiving a dollar. These numbers can get high. On the other hand, these can be distorted because some of those pay numbers are coming across in the form of highly structured packages, only a portion of which are really structured in cash. The rest of it is coming in the form of equity awards, which actually, in some cases, may turn out to be worthless. For example, some CEOs are paid almost exclusively in stock options. Those options, at the end of the day, may actually turn out to be completely worthless. On the other hand, they may be quite valuable. The dollar value you're seeing today is the economic value that we think they're worth as of the moment. On the other side of that ratio, you have median workers who are sometimes part-time employees. And so sometimes these distortions kind of get a little out of hand.
So it can be a little bit skewed, it sounds like.
Absolutely.
One last question before we let you go. I'm looking at the list of the top CEOs. Brad Jacobs, who's the chairman and CEO and basically founder of QXO, is here at the top of the list. A number of other people have options awards, as you mentioned. Should there be a difference between a CEO who's an executive or a CEO who's a founder CEO or a CEO who's both the chairman of the board and the CEO? Does that change your view on the compensation that they should or should not receive?
That's a complicated question, particularly in Brad's case, because he is a founding CEO and taking that organization. And moreover, he had a lot of his own capital tied up in it. When you actually go through the top 10 list, what you'll find, Frank, is that quite a few of these folks, there's kind of an interesting story behind each one of those. For example, if you go to Brian Niccol from Starbucks, he has roughly a $92 million pay package from last year. If you go behind the curtain a little bit, what you'll see is that a big chunk of that is really reimbursing him for money he left on the table back at Chipotle. These numbers these one-offs, if you will, do kind of distort the top 10 list. The rest of the list is not nearly that well compensated. Yes, the numbers are high relative to rank and file employees, but it still begs the question, maybe they really are delivering the value that they need. In other words, the pay is justified.